Hello, everybody. I hope I got. Oh, I didn't. Just 1 minute. I probably should have just paused that, but I didn't. Okay, so I'm doing something a little bit different today here, and a lot of you probably already know it. I just want to do some crochet basics, and I'm not an expert, and I was self-taught basically, and a lot of people are picking up crocheting. So I thought if you're interested and you want to know, maybe I'll run through some basics with you. First of all, let's start with the yarn and the needle you pick. It does make a difference. It is gonna, usually if there is a project on the yarn, it will tell you what size needle you need to use with the yarn. This one has some stuff here. It tells you it's a 4, that's a medium, kind of the size. I really don't know what this symbol is for, but you could look that up. And this tells you the needle they recommend, an I9. This one is a J6. So, used to be when I first started crocheting, everybody used the letters. Now it seems like they're using the numbers a lot. And I don't know, it doesn't matter, but that's still, but I want to show you. First, let's go through this. When I first started crocheting, you usually would pull somewhere from the middle and you could find where to begin, and I don't know if these do that or not. I've never bought this kind of roll, but I'm finding that with the new yarn nowadays, that isn't true. So, if you crack it open, you should be able to find a loose end on the side. The thing about that is if you have your yarn and it's not in something, it's gonna roll. This maybe not so much, because it will roll around and around and around, unless you put it this way, and it's gonna roll across the room, and you don't want that. Let me give you an example of yarn now. This is a new skein that I have not used yet. I haven't touched it other than to buy it and put it in the bag. There's 2 ends here. So what is that? I have no idea. Now you can see this one's pulling from here, and it's coming all the way through and going to the outside. So this is your starter one. And this is the one you can pull it from the inside and pull and pull and pull. And it should stay nice for you. The problem is, it used to stay nice for you. The problem is anymore that's not necessarily true. If it gets knotted, come to the end, and here's the thing with this end being loose like this, it is going to keep being a pain. So if you want to roll it up in a ball, you know that should be safe. Here is some yarn I rolled in a ball. And so I know as I'm going it's safe. But if it's in a ball and I'm using it and it's not in something, it's gonna roll away. Or across, not away, but across the room or, you know, whatever. And sometimes it's a hassle. So what I have found is if you take a canvas bag, a leather bag, a paper bag, whatever, you can put the ball inside the bag and pull, and the ball will stay in there usually. Sometimes it'll come out, but just be careful. Some bags, if they're thin enough or they're not, you know, bags you're worried about, you can just cut a little hole in it, put the string through, and there you go. There are bags, plastic containers, like I think I've seen at Dollar Tree and stuff, that you could do that. You could use it, but it's not going to be handy to take somewhere. They have some that are rubber and kind of soft. I don't know, where did I see those? They've got holes all through them, and you can use those, and those would be easier to take. What else did I want to say? If you can see, this is a very thin yarn. This is a very thick yarn. I don't remember the number on this. This was a 4, right? A 4. This is a... It says it's a 4 also. So, if you compare... I don't know if you can see, but this one is quite a bit thinner. But it's also put together different. It's a completely different kind of yarn. It is making a beautiful poncho, but anyways. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is tension. If you can't keep your tension even, you're going to have big stitches and small stitches and tight stitches and loose stitches, and tension is one of the hardest things to learn to control and one of the most important things about crochet. Now, they have rings that you can buy that have curls in them and stuff, and I don't know anything about those, but I'm going to show you the hand. So what I do is I go over the back of this, through here, and through here. So you see there, and then there and there. That's how I do it. Then I come with my middle finger, and these are bent. These other ones are bent also. But I'm holding it with my middle finger and my thumb, and this one always stays straight. And then do other people do it a different way? Yes, you probably have to figure out what works for you. This is what works for me. I can now take my needle, wrap it around, and I just want to give you a general idea of how this works. Now, I'm going to yarn over is what that's called. That's where you wrap that around and let that hook grab that yarn and pull it through the loop. Okay, the loop is on the needle. You're going to do it again. Now you can see as I'm doing this that this finger gives a little bit, but not a lot, and then I put it back out. I grab it, it just automatically bends just a little bit with the yarn coming in. And this is kind of instinct for me now. It just automatically does that. And if I do that, you can see my stitches are pretty even. Now I could just hold it straight. I'm having a hard time doing that. And See how tight my yarn's getting? I've got to give it that little, and my stitches still are even, but they're going to be tighter. So, but that yarn was strung very tightly. Now, if I don't do anything and just let the yarn do what it wants, since I have it wound up, it's not going to be as bad. I can't just do this. I can't just go like that. But that might work for somebody, but that doesn't work for me. And look how I've got a big one and little, and that one got littler, and so you have to work on your tension. That's one of the most important things. However that works for you. Like I said, for me, it works to wrap it around like this and use this finger to allow a certain amount of slack, I guess is the word I'm going to use. So, and I'm adjusting it. The whole time I'm crocheting, I might have to adjust and pull this a little tighter through here again because it might get loose in there. But it just automatically, it's like it's instinct for me. And I can determine how loose I want it to be by how much I bend that finger or how much yarn I grab too. If you grab a lot of yarn, your loop, when you pull, is going to get bigger. And sometimes when you're doing your chain stitch and you're going to be crocheting into that chain stitch, you might want it to be a little looser. It's real hard to come back into these little ones. But if it's bigger, it's easier. Your stitches are more than likely going to be bigger, like these stitches, than these ones here. I just did these this way just to show you how even it can be. Now I tend to crochet a little tight. I'll show you. I like my stitches kind of close together and kind of big, and I tend to use maybe a bigger needle than I need to, or smaller than I need to, depending on the yarn. I'll just show you an example. Here is something that I crocheted with that pink, and you can see my stitches are a little tight. This might give you a better example. They're still loose, not completely tight, but they're close together, and it's just, that's the way I like it. That's my tension. This is why this is not getting finished, because I wasn't crazy about these colors. But that might show you a little bit how I like my stitches to be kind of close and not real loose. Of course, to some people this would be loose. Depends on how you like it. Because some people like a loose crochet, some people like a tighter crochet. The other poncho I'm working on with this yarn, I'm using this needle. No, this recommends an I9 I9 5.5 millimeters. This is a J 6.0. So it tells you how many stitches makes the gauge. Your gauge is 4 by 4 inches. So if you use the I-9 or the 5.5 with this yarn, 12 single chain and a square should give you a 4x4 square. I believe that's the way it works. I've never been in a real technical crocheter, and I never look at the gauge. I try it. If I think it's going to come out the way I like it, if I like the way it looks, I do it. And, you know, it's not going to come out exactly like theirs size-wise, but always add stitches or take away stitches depending on so that's what I wanted to show. Was I wanted to talk about the basics, just so you get started. You know, I've never used the little counter things. I think if you're a beginner and you want to make sure you keep it straight and you don't end up with something that curves or go this way or that way or add too many stitches, you can put them little markers at the beginning and the end so that you know this was the last stitch, this is the first stitch, and you always, you know, it helps you to know. So sometimes, when I first started anyways, I would either add too many stitches at the end or short stitches. Yeah, that was my biggest problem starting, was getting a straight edge. They do so many stitches now that you count everything, or things are counted, and that makes a difference. It makes it easier than just a single stitch, you know, just doing a straight. This is a double crochet stitch straight. If I was just doing a blanket and ending it, you know, you need to know where. And when you're first starting, you have to learn that. So, anybody have any other tips for beginners? Leave them in the comments. Let's help these beginners out. I do get people calling and asking me stuff all the time, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know. I just do it and it works, you know. So trying to figure out how to say it for people can be difficult for me. But I do want to, just because I had somebody ask, to be honest with you. So I'm doing the video. The question was mostly about tension, and that's practice. And eventually, you know, make a dishcloth or a little blanket, and, you know, till you get it right, practice makes perfect. All right, everybody, if you like my video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And I will do more videos. We'll talk about different stitches and stuff like that. So that's coming. So if you like my video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you join me again. Bye-bye now.